Good morning, children, and welcome to the class. This is class 7th, subject social science, chapter number 2, history. Sorry, new kings and kingdoms. This is our lecture number 1 of this chapter. Now, let's start. We will discuss firstly the topics that we will be covering. The topics to be covered in this lecture: new kings and kingdoms. Names we will learn here. Second is, how did new kingdoms emerge? Or you can say, how did they come in exist? Number 3, administration in new kingdoms. The new kingdoms, those came in exist. What type of administration was there in those kingdoms? The next is taxes of that time. How were they collecting taxes, or what type of taxes they were collecting? So these are the topics that we will be covering in this particular lecture. First of all, the kingdoms, those emerged at that time. Many new kingdoms emerged or came in exist after 7th century, like Palas, Rashtrakutas, Gujar Pratiharas, Cholas, etc. These are the names of the kingdoms, the new kingdoms, those came in exist after 7th century. The names Palas, Rashtrakutas, Gurjar Pratiharas, Cholas, etc. Now we will see the location of these kingdoms there on the map. You can see map here. First of all, if you see there in the Western Deccan, there is the Rashtrakutas located. In Western Deccan means Deccan part of India. There in west part of Deccan, Rashtrakutas they are located. If we talk about Gurjar Pratiharas, they had control over Gujarat and Rajasthan. If we talk about Palas, they were there in Bengal. Cholas, if we talk about, they were there in southern part of India, particularly Tamil Nadu. If you see the map properly, you will see that in the north part, in the north direction of Gurjar Pratiharas, there is one more kingdom, that is Chahamanas. That is also known as Chauhans. The Chauhanas, they were having the control over Delhi and Ajmer part of Rajasthan. So these were some of the new kingdoms, those came in exist. There you can see Kannauj, one of the city that was located there in Ganga Valley, and that Kannauj was very much famous or prized city at that time. And all these new kingdoms, they wanted to control over Kannauj. So these were the new kingdoms, those came in exist: Gurjar Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas, Palas, Chauhans, and Cholas, they are in southern part of India. Now, how did new kingdoms emerge? Means how did they come in exist? First of all, the first thing, the new rulers were big landlords or warriors working under existing kings as subordinate or samantas. It means the new kings or the new lords, those came in exist. Previously, they were big landlords or warriors under the existing kings. They were working as subordinates or samantas under those particular kings. But they became powerful, and what happened later on? They declared themselves to be Mahasamantas or Mahamandaleshwaras. Why? Because they gained power and wealth. After getting power and wealth, they declared themselves to be Mahasamantas and Mahamandaleshwaras. So, and they became independent lords then. From their overlords, they became independent lords. And the new kingdoms came in exist in this way. So this is the way how the new kingdoms like Rashtrakutas, Palas or different one, they came in exist. First of all, they were just subordinates or samantas under the existing kings, but they became powerful or wealthy, and they declared themselves as Mahasamantas or Mahamandaleswar, and after then they were independent lords from their previous lords. So in this way, the new kingdoms emerged. Then some example of these new lords. First is Danti Durga. Danti Durga, the Rashtrakuta chief, overthrew his Chalukyas overlord. The Danti Durga, he was Rashtrakota's chief, and he was under Chalukyas, but he became independent from Chalukyas and came in exist as a new lord. The second one, Kadamba Mayurashram and Gurjar Pratihara. They established their kingdom in Karnataka and Rajasthan. They also become independent from their previous lord. Now we will see some of the rituals that was performed, like Danti Durga. Danti Durga, as we discussed, that he was the Samanta under Chalukyas. The Rashtrakuta chief, he performed a ritual known as Hiranyagarbha. It was thought that after performing ritual, they became Kshatriya. It was thought by the people after performing Hiranyagarbha, if anyone who was not Kshatriya, that person was that also became Kshatriya. Even the person who was not Kshatriya by birth, after performing Hiranyagarbha, they became Kshatriya. So Danti Durga, the Rashtrakota's chief, who became independent from Chalukyas, he performed a ritual known as Hiranyagarbha, and by which he performed a ritual by which he performed that he became a Kshatriya. The next thing, if we talk about Kadamba Mayurashram and Gurjar Pratihara, they were basically Brahmanas, and by their military skills, they established their kingdoms in Karnataka and Rajasthan. They were not Kshatriyas, they were Brahmanas, but by performing their military skills, they were skilled, and so they established their kingdoms there in Karnataka and Rajasthan. The rituals that we have already discussed performed by Danti Durga. What was the name of that ritual? It was Hiranyagarbha. After performing, it was thought by the people that the person became Kshatriya. Administration in new kingdoms. What type of administration they were having? Many of kings, they adopted titles like Maharaja Dhiraj and Tribhuvan Chakravartin. Maharaja Dhiraj, if you remember, you have done in 6th standard also, in which we have seen that the rulers of Gupta dynasty, they used this title Maharaja Dhiraj. So here also the new kings, they adopted the title of Maharaja Dhiraj and Tribhuvan Chakravartin. Tribhuvan Chakravartin means Lord of Three Worlds. So these titles they were having. The second thing, they shared their powers with Samantas as well, and as well as with associations of peasants, traders and Brahmanas. Samantas, if you remember, we have done in the previous class also. They were military leaders. Those were providing the troops of armies to the kings when they needed. So here from the starting of the chapter we are talking about Samantas. These were the same Samantas. Later on they became powerful and they became independent from their own overlord, became the new lords. So here the first one, they were having the titles like Maharaja Dhiraj and Tribhuvan Chakravartin, and they shared their powers with the Samantas as well as with association of peasants, traders, Brahmanas. Peasants were basically the people those were having the small land or they were working on others' land, the rented land, or anyone those were having the cattle with them. They were peasants. So they shared their powers with these people also. That was the administration of the new kingdoms. Now, the taxes of that time. Definitely, if the different rulers they were collecting the taxes from different people. So, in each of these states, resources were obtained from producers like peasants, cattle keepers, and they were compelled to pay something to lord. Means all the people living there, they were compelled, they were forced to pay something to the lord, and revenue was also collected from traders even. So in this way they were collecting the taxes. Basically here in the chapter two types of taxes are described. First one, veti. It was taken in form of forced labor, not in form of cash. Means veti was the type of tax in which it was taken from the people as a labor. It was not taken in the form of cash. So how will we describe veti? It was taken in the form of forced labor. Veti is a type of tax that was taken in form of forced labor, not in form of cash. Kadimai, the second one, it was land revenue, means it was collected as a cash. Kadimai was a land revenue that was collected. There were other taxes on thatching the house and a cess on succession to family property. Other than these two main taxes, some other taxes were also taken from the people on thatching of a house. Means anyone who was thatching the house, they were also paying the tax. And a cess is a type of levy or tax on succession to family property. Succession means when anyone transfer the property to other members of a family. So the type of tax that was taken, the assess on succession to family property. So these were the taxes those were taken at that time. So in this lecture we have covered first of all the names of different new kingdoms like Gurjar Pratihara, Palas, Rashtrakutas, Cholas. Then we have done how these new kingdoms they came in exist. Then different examples we have taken. Then we have done the administration of the new kingdoms. What type of administration was there? In which we have done the new lords or new kings, they were using the titles like Maharaja Dhiraj. And then we have done the some powers were shared with peasants, traders, Brahmanas also. Then the taxes that they were taking from the producers or the people living there in kingdom. So, and the type of taxes in which the two main type of taxes we have done, Veti and Kadamai. So that's it for today's lecture. Now, homework. On the basis of today's lecture, you will do this homework in your fair register. First question, match the following. Gurjar Pratihara, the column number 1, Rashtrakutas, Palas, Cholas. And in column 2, the parts where they were located. Western Deccan, Bengal, Gujarat and Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu. So, on the basis of this, you will match these where they were located. The second question, what were the two major cities under the control of Chahamanas? Chahamanas here, Chauhans. So, what were the two major cities? Those were under the control of Chauhans or Chahamanas. Chauhans were known as Chahamanas. As we discussed that they are in north part of Gurjar Pratihara. So The next one, where they had control. Here you have to write two major cities. The third question, how did the Rashtrakutas become powerful? Means the process, how did they become powerful, you will write in your answer. So thank you for today. Have a nice day.